Hey everyone, this is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square. And yeah, I'm doing a series of interviews all throughout the month of, celebrating or commemorating my casting announcement for Solomon Shrine and eventually in the future Furious 5. But today I kind of wanted to do like a quick little follow up with my one of the guests that I've had on last year. But yeah, we're gonna be talking with Heidi once again. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, how's it going?
Hey, it's me. It's Heidi. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, anytime. I guess to start this off, tell us how, because we're in a new year, how is 2025 for you so far?
It's been okay. We've had some very big things happening for the entire country, and that has caused a lot of stress. But I feel like I've found my footing, and I'm, at least holding my head above water. um, yeah, some exciting things happening, but also I don't know. It's all just trying to take one day at a time and not stress too much about things that are outside of my control.
I'm pretty much am in the same boat. Yeah, it's a lot, trust me, but it's not really the podcast to really go into, politics and
Yeah, yeah.
what have you. Yeah. So, okay, I guess we could just get right down to the questions, which is really not a lot, but, um, we'll just make it fun. So I guess for the first one that I have for you today, not sure if this was something that we discussed the last time, but what would you say were some of the, I guess, pieces of media that have left an impact on you in a way that have really inspired you when it comes to acting, writing, just pretty much do all this mumbo jumbo that you do?
Well, Chrono Trigger, straight up, singularly, concretely, Chrono Trigger. It is the game that pretty much inspired me to do everything that I do creatively: writing, drawing, voice acting. It doesn't have voice acting, but you know what? People can add voice acting in on YouTube and stuff, and that was something that I did way back in the day. Also, Final Fantasy IX, because that was the very first video game that I ever added my voice to for YouTube. And I actually recently I recorded some footage of the game when I was playing it a few months ago, and I was like, I'm gonna put some voices to it, like in an updated way, because my YouTube channel, my voice acting career is 18 years old now. Oh God. Um, and I was like looking back on my early Final Fantasy IX dubs. Oh boy. I can't even bring myself to watch them. I'm like, I know I'm better now, and I can do this game more better, but do this game justice. And But some better voice acting in some select scenes.
Yeah. Why do I feel like wanting to do like an episode where we listen to our old stuff and cringe?
Oh God, I don't know. That's painful. I mean, I know there's some videos of like YouTubers like reacting to their first ever video, and that's funny to watch. But it's also just thinking about my own work. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
I know. But what is also something that has helped you a lot as a storyteller from wearing so many different hats?
um, that's kind of hard to answer because I feel like time management is a very big thing. And I'm not even sure how I manage it nowadays. It feels like there's just not enough time to do everything that I want to do. And I need to prioritize doing things that make me money first and foremost, prioritizing auditions for my agents and for paid projects. Um, and then it's like, what time do I have left over to do things that are just for me, to play video games that feed my soul, and work on my own projects. So I'm not really sure how to answer that. Do you have any like follow up questions that could frame it in a different way?
Well, yeah, like because I know that because you've been doing this for a very long time with like writing and acting, so was kind of wondering how both of these just kind of really helped you grow as, just as a person, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, if I think about my background as a creator, I think back to my younger years and how my writing skills were very poor. I wasn't a very well read child. Um, and that's due to a bunch of different reasons. But I still wanted to tell stories. Writing was a medium, and for a very long time for me, it was the thing that I wanted to pursue. It wasn't until I was 10 years old, had slightly better writing skills, but still abysmal. But it was like, I want to write stories and I want to share them with other people, and I want to be a published author. And then things didn't really go the way I wanted them to be, but pandemic happened and I was like, voice acting is still an open avenue for me. Um, and it's a different it's a different medium from writing novels, but you can still embody a lot of characters and help tell somebody else's story. I would still love to someday be able to share my own stories, but I'm where I am right now with knowing how limited time I have and trying to juggle everything that I do. I'm perfectly content voicing other people's characters and bringing their world and their characters to life and still being able to be a part of the storytelling aspect, even if I'm not in complete creative control over the project. And I'm fine with that because that gets really exhausting and can take a lot of time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know I've certainly got some stuff coming out, which is fine. So, we'll just stay on the lookout for whenever episodes will be coming this year. Just
Yeah.
self shameless, not really shameless plug, but yeah, I mean, come on, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, if I could turn the question back on you, what is
Yeah,
it
go
like
ahead.
creating your own content?
Yeah, I just really love having because, with a lot of media, because I'm somebody that is very, very, very picky when it comes to watching shows and movies. And yeah, if, I mean, doing it in a really passionate way, but sometimes in a very, kind of blunt, brutally honest way where if something doesn't work out, I won't be afraid to point out, you know, the plot holes or just something that I really, really, really like about a movie. Even in some of my personal favorites. And I feel like with how the industry is going right now, unfortunately, there's not really a lot of, I guess you could say, creative freedom, like you were talking about. So that's that's why with a lot of indie animation, like recently, what is it, the digital circus, and the Lackadaisy, just a lot of my friends that are in really big stuff. By the way, speak of indie animation, I think the Lumi Big Galaxy thing just released recently, so I just want to say congrats on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. It was the fully voiced and audio produced animatic. Not the entire full episode, but yeah, the
Yeah.
animatic of the first episode.
Yeah, so I think for me, it's just kind of like with stuff like Lumi, it really helps you learn a lot about the whole experience on producing your own indie project and just getting to work with an amazing team of people without, I guess, network interferences or just, I mean, the only stuff that can't get in the way is life, which is, you can't escape it. So, but I think it's a lot more freeing, if that's the term for it. Like it's more, well, you're putting your own voice in a project and you're pouring your heart and soul into it. But if you're pitching it to a network, it's like, oh, you got to answer to the changes or the network meddling or the demands. But for you, when you're the creator and getting to work with a lot of different people, you get to listen to their input and collaborate with them and share our ideas out into the world. Like, I mean, I just did an interview with my co-writer Kayla Temchev. Y'all should totally check them out. They're awesome. Love you, Kayla, and also Dustin. I think we just spitball a lot of ideas, and most of the time it's approved, or it could just be, let's not do this. Usually I'm the one that kind of makes the veto decisions of, hey, let's do this, let's not, let's just draw the line on this idea, but we can try to figure out a way to make it more, I guess, because I want because for me, I just like having characters that grow and develop, and they're learning something out of a dangerous situation that they're in, just learning something that is going to stay with them. They're not going to, when they leave out of something, like out of a traumatic situation, they're not going to be the same as when they came in. It's
Mm.
pretty much just the bottom line. So that's kind of something that I do for Solomon, and pretty much a lot of my writing in a nutshell. Like, I have these really good ideas, and then I just like to add a little bit of an edge, like kind of like, let's just make it more realistic in a way. Like, put characters in peril, and then they learn, and then they become better people for it. Like, that's kind of like the theme with my writing in a nutshell.
Yeah, after like having been a writer myself and having put my characters in extremely traumatic situations, it's like how do they get out of this? They're not going to be whole, or at least they're not going to be the same person that they were on the other side. They're going to lose a lot of themselves because of what they've been through. And it's like, how do they put themselves back together? What kind of person are they afterward? And how do they maintain the relationships of the people around them who may or may not have been through similar situations? If they have, then it's like a shared trauma experience. And if not, it's like, how do they get support from those that they need it from?
Yeah. Because I know we can just talk about, is therapy good for our characters? With a lot of, because that's something that kind of bothers me too. It's like with a lot of media, they portray therapy as like, oh no, that's wrong. It's not. Um, I mean, it kind of depends, because I know that it can be good for people, but I know, yeah, not everybody is gonna have a nice experience with, getting counseling and stuff. So that's why you gotta be like, yeah, it just depends on the severity of the situation, I feel like. And when it comes to also writing my own stuff, I like to take, because going through dangerous games is not really a new concept for Solomon Trine, but having a new, unique, fresh take on what happens in a story, you can make it work. Like, you could just take ideas that have been done before and put your own spin on it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's that one saying there's only how many stories, and they're just told over and over with like different paint palettes or whatever.
Of course. But for you in particular, I wanted to know, when you were writing, like, do you kind of base some of your own personal real life experiences into your art? And what are some positive takeaways that you've, learned from
Yeah.
doing it?
So you
Yeah.
mentioned therapy, and that's a really interesting thing because I don't really write anymore. I've written my own character demos and stuff like that, but like when I'm quote unquote writing scripts for my ASMR channel, they're pretty much just bullet points, and I improvise the rest of it because it's kind of hard to make it sound natural when I don't know, touching my silicone ears and stuff. Um, so it's like, but when I think about writing where I used to be, yeah, I did put a lot of myself and my own current troubles into the situation, and like what the characters were going through. And then I started going to therapy, and I noticed that it changed how I wrote. And I caught myself like trying to do what I've been taught in therapy, to think of to reframe my situation in a more healthy way that isn't just blaming myself for everything that happened. And I found myself writing the characters going through that same process. And I'm like, no, it is too early in the story for them to be thinking this way. They need to have inner turmoil. Um, but just like having been through therapy, I needed to separate my own healing so that I could write um, conflict in a more engaging kind of way that isn't the character just immediately thinking that everything's going to be fine. Like, no, I need them to catastrophize a bit more, so they have that inner conflict, which thrusts the story forward, so they can earn their moment of healing later on in the story. So, yeah, that was interesting. Anyway, I'm like a major proponent for therapy. You do have to take some time to figure out what works for you. Um, for me, it's trusting that my therapist is actually listening to me and that they're not going to gaslight me over my own experiences and feelings, and that they're not going to suggest things that I know are wrong for me. And I don't want to get too much into that, but therapy, yes, it may take some time, but the right person is out there for you and will help you heal. Um, but yeah, let me think about this question a bit more. Positive takeaways. Um, yeah, I think that's another thing. At least like where I am now, no longer writing my own stories, but helping other people tell their stories through my voice, like my actual voice. I I I love approaching really traumatic stories. Um, like what this character that I voiced, Cornelia, in Saint Maker. She's a little girl, and she's gone through some terrible religious trauma. And there's a lot of crying that she had to do, and a lot of really traumatic situations of her basically being locked up in a coffin and dying. And um, I had to like bring in my own feelings into that so I could cry on command and perform as the character. But I also understand that it could be really harmful for somebody who has not done their own work in therapy to be able to pull themselves out of the situation after the fact and be like, I am okay. This is just acting. I'm just playing. Um, the things that I was putting my body through to get my voice to get to that performance, it's not real. And like, I'm in a safe space. So I feel like, again, therapy has done a lot of wonders for that. And being able to separate my own trauma from my work, but also being able to access it to make my work more sound more authentic.
Yeah. Just nodding because I'm just like, wow. It is like we're just getting this really deep episode in the midst of, let's just talk about voiceover, just talk about stuff. No, like every so often, I just wanted to flip the script and go a little bit more philosophical,
Yeah. And
which
I'm
is
like,
great.
thank you for giving this space to do that, because I know I can be like really silly and just like really foul mouth and just like play around and stuff. But I'm like, no, I am capable of deep emotion, and I appreciate it when somebody gives me the space to access that in a vocal kind of way, and not just to be like, oh, that's I'm uncomfortable. We shouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. But you've been doing this for about, you said 18, correct?
Yeah. So this beginning of my voice acting career was posting my first Final Fantasy IX dub on YouTube 18 years ago. Memorial Day 18 years ago. And I posted another video Memorial Day this year, and I'm like, wow, 18-year anniversary of my voice acting career.
Yeah, because I know we all go through peaks and valleys in VO. So, in the 18 years you've been doing this, what would you say were some of your, because I don't want to say favorite roles, mind you, but the experiences of getting to do this for so long, what would you say were some of your standouts of like something that you hold very near and dear to your heart and it just really resonates to you on a deep personal level?
Yeah, let me see. I mean, I did bring up Cornelia from Saint Maker, and even though there was only a few sessions, it was just like the depth of it that I got to access and portray. That was really important to me, and I just really like being able to go to that extreme in emotion and portray it. Um, so it's just stuck with me because so far, I don't think that I've been granted the space to go that deep emotionally into a role yet. I really hope that there will be more in the future. But I think that because it is a horror game, it's more sad than it is scary. But I feel like a lot of horror gives people the space to access the things that we are not societally um, comfortable with discussing in most spaces. So I feel like I really want to do more horror games. um, I feel like they stretch people's comfort levels, not only while they're playing it, but also the people who are creating them, who are a lot of the times dig into their own fears and the dark sides of themselves to be able to like visually, storytelling wise, auditorily, or orally, whatever you call it, to do like put everything together to create a frightening atmosphere that encompasses the darkness that they want to portray.
Think for me, one of my personal favorites, it's because I remember playing a character who has to it's actually in an animation, even though it's not really quite as dark, but it focuses on like accepting yourself. And I mean, for instance, like kind of trigger content warning, but there's a scene where a character ends up getting body shamed, and I played the boyfriend that is like, oh no no no, dude, you're absolutely just beautiful the way you are. You don't need these toxic friends in your life, and like you're just marvelous. Like no matter who you look like, who race, gender, like everybody has their unique, characteristics and we all have flaws, but we that's kind of something that makes us, special. So I thought that was just kind of like a really good message that I was just so blessed to be a part of. And I'll share it in the description if I remember the name of it, because I know I've announced it a while back, but yeah, trust me, I have a huge backlog of announcements that I still have yet to make. NDA,
Yeah,
NDAs, man.
yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, it's just kind of like, messages that really resonate with audiences. That's something that I look, if something was able to speak to me on a personal level, that's something that I would want to do to anybody that is just kind of going through, these really pressing times. And speaking of which, since we are in June, what would be the best piece of advice to everybody that is just kind of, I mean, when it comes to all sorts of communities that are just really feeling the weight and heaviness of what's going on around the world right now, what would be your best piece of advice when it comes to just dealing in all of this?
Hmm. I don't want this to come off as shallow, and I will go into more on why, but I just overall like hang in there, and that sounds so foolishly optimistic, but also like you are important, the world needs you. Um Thank you for being you. And but also BIPOC and pride. I am an Asian American woman, cis woman. I'm also asexual. So it's like, I feel like coming from quote unquote the muddle minority is, I'm kind of speaking from a place of privilege as a person of color. And that's kind of weird because, but at the same time, like I've been raised to disappear and not to be a problem. And for most of my life, I was okay with that. um, but now, like I'm trying to tell myself that it's okay for me to take up space. And I feel like for for other people of color, other people under the LGBT plus umbrella, that you know you deserve to take up space. And also, being asexual, it is considered, as the book written on it, the invisible orientation. So a lot of times for me, like my orientation isn't even an issue that I need to present to the world because it's not there, quote unquote. um, it's not something that I would really have to consider if I wanted to like go out on a date with somebody that society deems unacceptable. Um, I mean, I'm friends with people like that, but I won't be seen in a romantic situation with somebody like that. So again, it's like I'm not really sure if it's my place to give advice on it, um, because it is considered invisible and not really an issue. I don't know if anybody's like actually just listening to this, but I'm doing air quotes here.
Oh no, I think it'll probably be on YouTube at some
Okay,
point.
okay.
So yeah, air quote. Yeah, so we kind of we get the picture. And yeah, like in all of the years that you've also been doing this, what would you say were some of the biggest takeaways or like the learning lessons that you've, I guess, learned about the industry or just finding, just being yourself, it's just a part of this really crazy business.
The industry itself is kind of weird because, for such a long time before the pandemic, it was very a voiceover took place in voiceover hubs like LA, New York, Toronto, Dallas. So for being like at this point in my life, a 100% remote voice actor is kind of weird because it's like there are projects that I get to audition for, but they're like, you must come into LA to record. And I'm in California, but it's like LA is still a bit of a ways away for me. Um, but there are people who are working in this industry who have their own studios who are casting remote voice actors and want the accessibility to be out there for people who are either unable to come into studio for health reasons or financial reasons or whatever. And I appreciate those people for opening it up to the world. Yeah, basically the entire world. I mean, there are some things about like work. You have to be in the U.S. or whatever, just for tax reasons or whatever. Um, but yeah, that's one thing about the industry, and yeah, I mean, you deserve to like my answer for the previous question. You deserve to take up space. There's something special about you. The world needs you. You bring something different to the world, and um, it's you, even if somebody says, like, if you're submitting to agencies or something and they're like, oh, we already have somebody just like you. That's a fucking lie. Sorry, F bomb. Because, like, they like to put you in boxes, but you are unique. And just don't forget that because you have something unique to offer to the world and to your craft. And it might be difficult to exactly excavate what it is that you can bring that is uniquely you and show people this is me. You do not have me. And again, that might take some therapy to help uncover all of that. Yeah, I think that did that answer the question? And I know there were a few parts there.
No, no, don't worry. I think that's it should suffice.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Pretty solid answer, if I do say so myself. And also, if you were to give advice to younger Heidi about finding their voice, what would you say to them and why?
Uh, you're worth more than just an accessory. You exist to feel and to create. And don't let anybody extinguish your fire.
Sounds just about right. But I really want to thank you for your time today. Do you want to share any final thoughts or advice to close out this interview?
Therapy. Great. I know it's, some people's insurance may or may not cover it. If it does, I would recommend it, especially even if you're like, I'm fine, but I feel like I want to talk to somebody just because. It's like, your insurance is paying them to listen to you. But also, if you actually do need therapy, then, and maybe the first person that you see that isn't working out for you, then it is your right to take the time and find somebody who does work for you and who will listen to you and will give you advice that you need so you can grow as a person and find your authentic self and be comfortable being that person.
Right on. So, I guess you could just plug your socials, upcoming stuff, and that is out. And yeah, just
Yeah, let me see.
sell out.
Well, the new episode of Oda-chan is up. I voice Kon, and that is up on YouTube. Hope I'll be able to share some behind the scenes stuff that I recorded for it soon. And let me see what else I can actually talk about. That's actually out, so I'm just gonna play it safe and be like, "Yep, Oda-chan."
And for the outro, I usually do the outro where it's like, hey, my name is Heidi Tapping. I've done blah, blah, blah. And this is Station
My
Square
God,
with.
your name is Heidi Tabing too. What a
Oh
coincidence.
my gosh, yeah. What are the odds? But, anyways, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for listening. My name is Heidi Tabing. You can find me on Blue Sky and Twitter, just like Heidi Tabing. I don't know. Look me up. I'll probably be there somewhere. You can also go to my website, HeidiTabing.com, and all my links, the links to all my socials are there on the bottom, so you won't be able to mess it up then.
Yay, sounds about. We did it. Always gotta roll with the first punch and roll. What did they say? That's what they call it. So, yeah, like like we were just talking about, wow, I cannot believe I'm stumbling right now, right as we're about to close out. But yeah, this is Station Square with Robert Jackson, and yeah, thank you for listening to me and Heidi just shoot the breeze and shoot the stuff. And yeah, always support actors. No AI
Heck
will
yeah.
ever replace us. And until next time, lovelies, take care. Have a great June. Happy LG Pride, June, whatever celebration is going on this month. And I shall catch y'all next time on Station Square. And stay tuned for more Solomon Trying to Various 5 interviews coming out this month. That's it. That's the promotion. Anyways, take care, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.